Hello, hello, hello. 1 2 1 2 testing. I just wanted to see if I can go live and catch up with you guys. Sorry it's a little late because I promised to be on a lot sooner and I got here kind of late, and that's mostly because of just a lot of things going on, a lot to do, and just keeping busy. One of the things that um, has happened recently that kind of inspired this live broadcast is the fact that the Shenmue license for Shenmue 3 in particular, not Shenmue 1 and 2, and I'm sure many of you guys already know this, but for those of you who don't know, Shenmue 3 is no longer in the hands of Deep Silver. It's now in INN Games, which is interesting because I think that that allows an opportunity, which a lot of people have speculated too, to kind of update Shenmue 3 for new consoles since they have the license, and then test the waters, see where that kind of goes for the Shenmue brand. And potentially what we're kind of throwing out there and want to happen is a kind of a development of what can possibly happen in the future of Shenmue. We constantly push for Shenmue 4. We constantly push for branding to be out there, and we constantly push for Shenmue Anime Season 2, which would be amazing and super awesome. But we don't have that. Nice to see you, Dominic. Nice to see you, Andy. Welcome to this Shenmue live stream, which I haven't done a Shenmue live stream actually in a while. And I definitely wanted to catch up and actually play and refresh Shenmue 3 in particular a little bit. Let me know if you guys can hear me or if there's any audio issues from that sense with the gameplay or with anything going on. Again, I haven't played this in a while. And what I'm trying to do, actually, and I'm trying to have a conversation with you guys, trying to kind of just throw my thoughts out in the air with Shenmue in particular, is the fact that I want to make sure that that I don't say anything that is putting something out there which is not currently true or something like that. Let me know if the stream is smooth too as well, because I'm not really monitoring my stream, but on the app it's saying that my current streaming quality might not be supported. So again, if you have trouble or if I seem jittery or kind of out of there, let me know, because since I can't monitor it right now, that would be super helpful as well. But okay, so my goal, and I've done this in a lot of different live streams as well too as I'm talking, is I've wanted to play one particular game and get better at it, and that's QTE title, right? QTE title. I want to play a few games and then get once again familiar with the fighting. So I want to have actually a couple of fights too, because it's been a while since I played that as well, and I love the fighting. And while I do that, I'm going to try to do two things at once: play the game and talk to you guys at the same time. So now I'm going to switch screens so that you can see the Shenmue gameplay a lot larger. So there you go. And we're gonna get good. I haven't done live streaming in such a long time, but without further ado, let's get into some QTE title. I don't know if one of these arcades have my former high score or whatever. Probably not. Excite QTE 3. Let's try QTE title. We're gonna get on this game, QTE title, and then go from there.
I'll give it a try.
I don't have much money, unfortunately, but I can still play a few games and keep it going from there. So focus is on this QTE title. Here we go. I am not using keyboard buttons, which is weird that the keys are appearing. Oh damn, the keys are appearing as if they were keyboard keys, but I'm still using a PlayStation 4 controller actually. So this is actually a little more challenging than what used to be in the regular Shenmue. I think I'm only gonna do one of these and then we'll move on from here because this is rough. Oh, that is an embarrassing low score. I'm obviously better in QTE title for the Dreamcast and for the PC versions of Shenmue 1, actually, and Shenmue 2.
Just one more.
No, I'm not gonna play. I need a lot of practice before I humiliate myself again. But while we walk and explore the world of Shenmue 3, I wanted to kind of give you my thoughts on in-game games. I don't know too much about in-game games, but I do have my own opinions about why possibly, again, speculation, why possibly they would want the Shenmue license. Now, if you haven't done it already, watch Adam Korlick's latest video on the Shenmue franchise and the whole controversy about in-game games taking over from Deep Silver. From basic Adam's words himself, he couldn't share too much, but there seemed to be a lot of friction and non-understanding of the Shenmue franchise and license, and decisions made by Deep Silver that quite honestly were not favorable to the developers when it comes to what they wanted to do with the franchise. I'm actually going to quit out of this game, see if I can start I want to start playing from like a completed file. So where's my, how do I pull up the let me see. Yes. Oh no, I just lost my screen. Okay, let's get back to trying to like pull up Shenmue, and then the whole thing just messed up on me. So I'm just, because I'm trying to get it to work with the controller, and it was just kind of glitching on me. My apologies. Back to Shenmue. So with those friction, the friction that existed in Shenmue and Deep Silver, like, you know, EastNet particular with Deep Silver, that friction basically led to what I think was the stagnation of the Shenmue franchise. After Shenmue 3 ended the way it did, we've had no support, and Shenmue 3 definitely made money. I checked the sales figures that they reported from back then. So it was one of Deep Silver's best reporting games at the time. So it really made no sense as to why are you just gonna stop supporting the game. Now, when's the last time I played Shenmue? Now July 19th, level 23. Okay, a lot of these are just easy. So when it comes to supporting the game going forward, it didn't have the perfect support. It had, we want to see how much money we can make off of this support. I probably chose the same darn game, which means I don't have access to a lot of areas. Darn, that kind of stinks. You know, let me go back to the big angle again. So yeah, I might not. Let's see. Here we go. Okay. I want to see what I can play from here and where in the story I am.
The Promenade. So that's the name of this.
Yeah, I'm still very early in this game, apparently, from this save file. Because if he's just discovering the Promenade, then that's just real early on.
It was just a fortune. I only said wine was bad for his luck.
Oh, I forgot what happens here. Oh, no. I just let him get punched in the mouth. Oh, well.
How dare you mutter such nonsense?
I like how at least you could do them right away without having the game to load.
It was just a fortune. I only said wine was bad for his luck.
Shut it!
What?
It's weird because I'm playing with a PlayStation controller yet it's still saying
Don't
press the
tell
A
me.
button.
I just knocked him out.
Thank you, kind sir. As you can see, I am merely a fortune teller. How about I tell your fortune as my way of saying thanks?
Sure.
My shop, the Tortoiseshell, is just up ahead. Feel free to stop by anytime.
Sure. Okay, so going from here, let's see if I can. I want to join some street fights on the Rose Garden and go from there. But anyway, I keep on stalling because of the gameplay, but this game just gets me where I'm just like, forget it. You're not even live streaming. You're playing Shenmue. Of course, a lot of people have mentioned there's a lot of flaws with this game and whatever, and I think, especially after Adam's video, that there were some problems that basically this game, which might have been caused by Deep Silver themselves, but again, I don't know, only speculating. However, I will say that Deep Silver did not do enough to promote the franchise past the release, right? They did not even bother to start porting once the agreement with Sony kind of expired, porting an Xbox version of the game. We were able to play it on PlayStation 5, of course, with enhanced graphics, of course, because PS4 games are compatible with PS5, so that helps with the lifetime of this game. But when it comes to being able to play exclusive PS5 versions, probably not Nintendo Switch versions, but Xbox versions of this game, and really make it a multi-console experience, because Shenmue 1, Shenmue 2 were always stuck on exclusivity agreements with consoles. Now, Sega Dreamcast, Shenmue 1, of course, that totally makes sense. I'm stopping for a second because I want to focus on talking to you guys. But Shenmue 1, stuck on Dreamcast for years. And then that limited its ability to sell a lot. Shenmue 2, stuck on Dreamcast in Europe and Japan, and then US got exclusive Xbox rights. But those exclusive rights hampered its ability to sell to people who honestly didn't play Xbox. Didn't play Xbox, and they were like PlayStation fans. PlayStation people couldn't play it. Fast forward. Then finally, Shenmue 1 and 2 is released on PC, I believe on Xbox, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure about that, but on PlayStation as well. Shenmue 1 and Shenmue 2 re-released. Finally, out there, multiple platforms, but those weren't new games. Then finally, when the new game comes out, it's exclusive to the PlayStation 4. Again, Xbox, Sony, and Sega Dreamcast all had exclusivity with one or multiple versions of the game, which is kind of limiting for the franchise, especially when you make it out there. And it's also a franchise that's been stuck in time. Generally speaking, the storyline, we've been stuck in the 80s for like the longest time, but stuck in time when it comes to development, because Shenmue 1 and Shenmue 2 started development in the mid-90s, right? Shenmue 1 was completed in 1999, but Shenmue 2 was also being worked on at the same time. So that was almost completely done by the time Shenmue 1 came out. There were slight improvements in Shenmue 2 that they made when they released it on the Dreamcast in 2001, right? So that was cool, but it was kind of stuck with its own timeline because it's been in development since the mid-90s. It was being developed originally for the Saturn. And then when Shenmue 3 came out, it was designed for the fans. And even though there was a lot of interference, there was a lot of improvements, but a lot of that mid-90s gameplay carried over with much improved graphics, of course. But a lot of that 90s gameplay carried over, and some things actually deteriorated when it came to this franchise, because it couldn't carry over the Virtual Fighter fighting engine, because that still belonged to Sega, and they only licensed the Shenmue property, not the Virtual Fighter property or any other properties, right? That's why you don't see in the arcades, in Shenmue 1, Shenmue 2, you saw Sega arcade games. You had Afterburner, you had Hang On, you had you just had a bunch of different franchises along with custom arcade games like for Shenmue itself. But then in Shenmue 3, all you had was custom games specifically for Shenmue 3, so you don't get that same experience. So it's like, yeah, include it because it makes sense to the story, because Ryo obviously liked to play video games, but that archaic type of gameplay is no longer something that you should be sticking to tell the Shenmue story. That's my belief. So Shenmue 4, if and when it gets made, should focus more on telling the story in a new way that Yu Suzuki knows how to innovate. Let's get away from all the stuff that he helped create in the past, because Shenmue created a lot of things. Open world gameplay was innovated, not created, but innovated by Shenmue. QuickTime events, much improved over past uses of QuickTime events, so it really innovated that. So let's bring something else, because Shenmue 3 didn't really innovate. In fact, you kind of felt like there was a lot missing from a content perspective. So yeah, let's have a fight and not stand here and see what we can do. Catch up to the fighting engine again, because I haven't played this in a while.
Welcome to Niaowu's largest fighting arena, the Rose Garden! Does anyone dare to challenge the rugged fighters gathered here? The last one standing gets a skill book for the most powerful move known to man. The rules are simple. Knock your opponent out of the ring, or knock them out cold to win. If you win, you get back double your entry fee.
All right.
You might know this guy as the Silver Wolf of Guilin.
I don't remember at all how to fight in this game. I'm really just winging it at this point.
Can anyone escape the big bad wolf? Hey, kid, you up for a fight?
Who, me?
You never know. You could win big.
I'm out of tokens.
Really? Chances like this don't come up every day, kid. The next fight starts at 12:30.
Let's fight.
Excuse me.
Hey, kid! Think you've got what it takes?
Actually, I need help with something.
It's best to let your fists do the talking. That's what I always say. Now step right up!
No, I'm just...
If you're not gonna fight, just sit there and watch.
Okay.
I'm busy working now. I don't have time to chat.
Got it.
I guess I can't fight. That's kind of disappointing. Again, I guess this save was pretty early in the game, but that's fine. We'll continue on from there. Actually, if I could gamble. I like to gamble sometimes here. And see what I can come up with.
Dice.
Welcome and thank you. This is roll it on
Maybe,
top.
or maybe I pressed the wrong button.
First, do try it.
Let's play roll it on top. Anyway,
Now then, let us begin.
now to the next thing that I have in mind. It's basically
Indeed.
what would it take to make Shenmue 4?
At this
Right.
rate, we'll both
There's a
make
lot
research.
that would be necessary to make Shenmue 4, right? I don't even know if in-game games would be able to
Love. 6.
make Shenmue 4. Yeah, we lost.
We all all lose sometimes, indeed.
Let's do one more, because that's
You
easy
seem to be
enough. So
lacking in
Shenmue 4
tokens,
would
good
need
sir.
several things. First, everybody
Welcome and
would have
thank
to
you.
play
This is
and
Road on
buy
Top.
Shenmue 3
First,
again
do
for
try.
updated consoles. Everyone who supported Shenmue in the
You
past
seem
would
to be
have
lacking
to
in tokens, good sir.
put in their money. But you also need advertising that would create interest in it. Okay, I don't know what happened or why I can't play, but I'll just kind of go out of here and proceed with the story, because I was paying attention to you guys. So if you can have that support like it did in the past of Shenmue and the franchise and build excitement, then that could help with the franchise. But they've also got to be able to fund it. When it comes to funding, that interest and things like, for example, today had a tweet-a-thon with Shenmue, and getting Shenmue to constantly be on the radar of trending topics, it can actually create statistics that will make developers like in games want to do something with the franchise. Now, if you don't have that and you don't have the excitement, well, then that pretty much leads to the franchise just going away and dying. You don't want that to happen, because then you will never finish the story in that sense. But once that excitement starts to happen, now how you do that, you honestly, people would need to know what is Shenmue, because you can create interest in games that are,
Talk to the folks around here a little more.
you know, well respected in the industry. If I just say a name like Grand Theft Auto, right? Everyone, if you don't play video games, you know what Grand Theft Auto is. But if you mention the name, let's say Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, right? Mike Tyson's Punch-Out was a Nintendo game from the late 80s or early 90s, right? But yet it's still pretty popular today because people have kept it alive. Now, we would have to do the same for Shenmue and its popularity, but because it has such a recognizable, like, for example, celebrity tied to it, it does help that that celebrity is so closely linked to it that it can stay alive till today. Now, let's look at the franchise like Streets of Rage. Streets of Rage had its reputation and it's recognizable. They were able to get funding for, you know, a classic style game. That's awesome that they can do that. Shenmue, after so many years, because we supported it the way we did, we were able to break Kickstarter records and get it recreated. However, the popularity kind of goes up and down when it comes to many different franchises, and I would include Shenmue in that, because first of all, I need help on how to bring up this darn menu. Inventory. Okay, I was forgetting on exactly how to bring up the menu. That's how long it's been since I've played this game. And bringing up the garlic. Holy cow, that was a while. Shenmue 3 was a game of the year in 2019. I built up so much anticipation for that game when it came out. Let's actually play Lucky Hit. You know, I miss Lucky Hit actually.
Lucky Hit.
It would help me out if you played.
So
Which table do you want?
once you have that interest, then you need to get the right publishers, right? And developers. You've got EastNet, but the publisher matters as well. And they really have to support the franchise, you know? And that could be very difficult because they need to have faith in it. And what's always been wrong is that Shenmue has never really had television or online promotion that builds it not as a game that's kind of an old game with a hardcore fan base, but a new game that innovates in such a way that it makes people want to, of course, I'm going to play again, that makes people want to actually play this game. And what can actually cause that? I think that one of the missed opportunities that Shenmue III really messed up in, even though I personally enjoyed it, one of the missed opportunities is the fact that you can create a game whose fighting engine is so good, because fighting games, when you do it right, is incredible. You create the fighting so immersive and so next level, better than Arkham Asylum, better than heck, Street Fighter's fighting engines, right? Mortal Kombat. You surpass those fighting engines with an incredible story. And you make it immersive too, surpassing the likes of like, okay, no more lucky hit, I'm losing, but surpassing the likes of like modern games. Then you can honestly sell the franchise like that. Sell it not as something that failed in the past. Those hardcore gamers and those who are into gaming are going to recognize the fact that this is Shenmue and know what Shenmue is. But even they'll look at it with new eyes, especially the fighting engine. And the engine itself is really new, and the gameplay is no longer stuck in the mid-90s. Which, again, like I said before, this definitely was. Even Shenmue 3 was stuck in the mid-90s with a lot of the things that it did. Besides graphics. Graphics are,
Excuse me.
in my opinion, unique. I won't say that they're next level, but I won't say that they're as bad as I expected a Kickstarter game to be. So it's kind of like a mid-level point. Even today, it's still, especially a lot of the scenery, looks incredible when I look at it today. So this game did cost a lot of money. You can tell there was a lot of development money and time that took place. But for Shenmue 4, like let's say it gets funded today, right? For Shenmue 4 to be next level, it's probably going to take 3, 4, maybe even 5 years of development time with a next level engine. Okay, I totally forgot how to play this game. Oh man. Boom. Okay. Sorry, I had to quiet it down because. Oh, now I'm starting to remember how to fight. Okay, I got it. So once you have the fighting engine much improved over what's over here, right? Not that this, in my opinion, the fighting wasn't bad. It was just not responsive, and it had an atrocious lag time when it comes to pulling off your moves, you know, which didn't help. It would be a lot better if this game had faster, more responsive fighting and something that's easier to digest. But it did the job. It had its own unique style of fun, I think. But also, once you have like that next level promotion, right, where it's the game was developed great, which you need that money, but once it's shown as basically a new game, then I think that's where you have success. And that's actually been proven in the past before. One game that did that now is one of the top franchises in gaming ever, was actually Grand Theft Auto. If you look at Grand Theft Auto 1 and 2, those games did well. There's no hiding the fact that those games did well, but they don't compare to Grand Theft Auto 3. Grand Theft Auto 3 was able to become exactly what the franchise needed when it comes to making money, because Grand Theft Auto 3, people were saying the name Grand Theft Auto 3, saying 3 without realizing that
A true testament to your efforts.
there was a Grand Theft Auto 1 or
But
2.
there are even
They were just like,
stronger
oh, you play
opponents
Grand
that
Theft Auto
await
3,
you.
yeah, like it was a new game. Another game that actually did that too, which Grand Theft Auto did it to the next levels, but it felt like a new game because it really was. It reinvigorated the franchise.
Excuse me.
Another game that did that
come to
was
train?
Street
You
Fighter.
can practice your kung fu
When you
on a
played
wooden
Street
dummy,
Fighter
or polish your techniques by sparring.
in the 80s, if you
can
played it,
also test your skills
you
in a
probably
real
forgot
match.
it even existed
What will you
if you're
do?
playing Street Fighter 2. Street Fighter 2, when that came out, when Street Fighter 2 came out,
Fight, eh?
people would play
Let's
Street Fighter
see.
2 in the arcades.
Red Dragon will be
And
your
again,
opponent.
first they'd be like, there
You
was a
currently
first Street
fight
Fighter? I've
with
never even
moderate
heard of it.
skill.
Never even heard of the first one. But they're playing Street Fighter 2 like it's the greatest thing ever created. Why? It's because they innovated with their fighting engine and basically reinvigorated a fighting game genre, which really didn't have legs before Street Fighter 2. You know?
I'm impressed.
Darn.
That won't work.
Not what I want to do. There you go. So,
Simple opponent. What was that?
I may not be involving or getting too close to this guy, but until I get real familiar again, I had this like fighting tactic where they would do a couple moves, run at you, and then you hit them with a perfectly timed elbow assault, and then they always fall for it. But the elbow assault has to be perfectly timed because you have to create the distance, they run, and then pow, you just hit them with the elbow assault, just like I did there. It makes fighting a ton easier, but you can't do that when you're fighting in
You
groups,
beat Red
obviously.
Dragon. That makes
But,
you
um,
6th Dawn.
But it
Set
helps
your
a lot.
sights even
Anyway,
higher
so
and
Street Fighter
keep
2
climbing.
now exists. Now we're on Street Fighter 6, and that franchise can live forever. I mean, we're still trying to get Part
Excuse me.
4 created
Have you
in
come to
Shenmue.
train?
It took so
You
many
can
years to get
practice your
3
kung fu
games,
on a wooden
and
dummy,
Street
or
Fighter,
polish your techniques by
they're on their
sparring.
6th now. It took a lot of
You
years to
can
go
also
from
test
2 to
your
3,
skills in a
right?
real match.
But they got a lot of like
What will you
midpoints.
do?
They milked that franchise as much as possible.
So, you wish to fight?
And
Black
that's
Dragon
kind of what
should
I'm
be the
missing
perfect
from
opponent.
the whole Shenmue creation standpoint, is that we need to, not we, but the developers really need to just kind of step away. The fans got their fan game. That was Shenmue 3. Now let's actually make this franchise, because the IP already has some legs. Damn it. All right, let's fight for real.
You punk.
There you go.
What's with this guy?
And then let him run towards me after he gets up. Run? Ha! Done. Alright, so
What a magnificent
again,
fight.
we're
You beat Black Dragon, so you have been promoted in rank.
we've been promoted in
Keep
rank.
it up, warrior.
Keep it up, warrior. Okay, these were fun. But the important thing that I wanted to mention is the fact that in order for all of that magical stuff to happen, the most important thing that needs to happen is that a publisher needs to have faith in the Shenmue franchise. And in order to get that faith, you need excitement from those that are going to give money. It's basically up to us to build the excitement to the publisher. Whether it's in games, because in games, they own the license now, or they have the rights to Shenmue 3. Just Shenmue 3, not Shenmue 4. Another publisher can step in. Let's say EA Games says, hey, you know what, Sega, let's work together. We're going to make Shenmue 4. That's totally possible. Unlikely, but totally possible. You can have another, I don't think that Deep Silver and Eastnet will ever work together again. But you can have others that say, you know what, we're going to back this, give major funding because we're looking for an IP that can tell a good story, have a good fighting engine, and want to pack it with money. And Shenmue in itself has the advantage of being a franchise that already exists, already has a fan base that is willing to give it money. A lot of franchises don't have that, especially when they start from scratch. You can make some new and exciting features in Shenmue because it doesn't have to be, you know, just classic what this was. You could give it a story, make it something different. At least that's my opinion. I do not want to stick to the past. All right, maybe when it comes to the stories, we got to stick to the past, but I don't want to stick to the past when it comes to Shenmue in itself. I'm going to switch my screen again away from that regular Shenmue screen. I wanted to show you guys this thing right here. I also recently got, if you can see that, a plaque from YouTube for reaching 100,000 subscribers. Now, not on this channel, but on my camera channel and my video related camera tech channel. And they actually sent it to me like a week ago or whatever. Sad story with that though is that before I got that award, I did a lot of live streams with another YouTuber on like camera stuff, and that, I'm not going to mention names, but that YouTuber who always got more views than me, and he had a lot more subscribers than me. I had like 3,000, he had 50,000, but I went this year from 3,000 subscribers to over 100,000, and he's relatively been at 55,000. So then he wanted to start like a podcast with me and start working with me a lot more because like, you've got a fan base, and he was like stalking my channel. And then right before I got the award, one day he texts me and he says, I don't want to work with you anymore. You're a liar, and other stuff. I'm not quoting him exactly, but it was a lot more like my subscribers were disingenuous. And he thought that I did something nefarious to get subscribers, which I did not do. I did not do at all. He just didn't see the engagement that his videos had when compared with mine. Honestly, I got a lot of subscribers because there was a few like high-hitting, high-view videos that were getting a lot of subscribers just based off of them. And I promoted my channel through YouTube's like promote button. Those are the only two things I did, or luck I had. And that got a lot of subscribers, over 100,000. He thought I was doing something nefarious, and he says it's all good, but he basically made me feel like that award was fake, and that sucked. It killed my mojo. I didn't even talk. You guys are the first to tell about this. I didn't even talk about it on my camera channel because I don't want people, at least in that world, because they can be as tough, if not worse, than gamers. I don't want anyone starting controversy, asking who, whatever. But on this channel, I think it's a different relationship that I have with that and you guys, because I think of that channel as business related, equipment related, just kind of almost promotion for the cameras in those industries. What we have with these live streams and what we have with Shenmue, what we have with other games nostalgic games that I bring back to life for different cultures. Like one of my most viewed videos here is actually nothing to do with Shenmue. It has to do with a different game. I forget the whole name of that game, but it was what is that game? I don't even remember. But it's a game that a lot of people like. It had a lot of hype to it, and I obviously don't even care about the game because I'm like, here, like, the hell was that game? But it sucked. It was a game that was like a lot of hype. A lot of people loved it. My opinion, Elden Ring. Don't kill me, but Elden Ring, I thought I would play Shenmue a million times over Elden Ring. Elden Ring, to me, in my opinion, was just a particular game designed for a particular niche of people that have time and energy to dedicate their lives to give up everything and play for hours to understand and love that game, where you kind of tell your own story. Shenmue, even Shenmue 3, knowing nothing about the franchise, it fills you in on the backstory and it keeps the story interesting and things happen and you just respond to it. Shenmue 3, in my opinion, is more interesting, fun, better than Elden Ring. I'm saying it now. I've given Elden Ring so many chances to just, is this fun? And it never was. Never was. I would just play, killed almost immediately. Oh, no, get good, bro. Get good. Get good. There's no excuse. No. It's not bad for a lot of people who can be into that, right? Elder Scrolls type of, not Elder Scrolls, Dark Souls fans, for example, but not someone like, I'm an adult. I have things to do. I'm starting my own business, believe it or not. Helping creators get from like poor quality and nervousness in front of a camera to speak to a camera with confidence and not be afraid to just be themselves in camera. Like right now, I'm talking to you as I would if I met you on the street. I'm not afraid to be myself and talk to you guys just like I would talk to anyone else, simply because everyone here, from Andy to who do we have? Grand Seren, Bob, for years you've been following, Oregon Pacifist. Come on, we've done live streams together. Like, you guys are family. Dominic, we've got on the chat, you know. Dominic comes from like my Twitch streams too. like this is awesome. So for that, we have a relationship. But when it comes to other people being able to do that in front of the camera, I want to help. So I haven't launched it yet because I've been developing like this whole plan to do it. But it not only helps you if you're interested in doing like these live streams or getting on YouTube or getting on TikTok or Instagram doing videos, but it also helps with self-confidence for your jobs as well. So doing YouTube and you guys and talking to you guys actually helped me in my job, where I was able to do things like meet John Cena and actually battle rap John Cena and told him, you can't see me. That was one of the best experiences I had in my life. That was last April. I actually met John Cena right after WrestleMania. So that was pretty cool. And it was because I'm not afraid to do this. So I'm actually starting a program to help others have that kind of like come out of your shell and get in front of the camera, and then teach you how to use cameras and all that, and like equipment, lights, and whatever. So, okay, I've rambled on about Shenmue. I've rambled on about what's happening to me personally, but I also want to ask you guys as well. Maybe we can get a conversation going, if not now, maybe in the comments down below after this live stream's done. But what are some of the things that you think Shenmue 4 should either do from its marketing or actually have in gameplay wise, like ideas that would actually make it a top seller? Because let's be honest, this franchise is dead if we're not guaranteeing a large profit to keep this conversation going. Because we don't only want Shenmue 4. We talk about Shenmue 4, but we don't only want Shenmue 4. We want Shenmue 5, possibly Shenmue 6, or just to finish the story, right? However long it takes. We also want Shenmue the anime. We do. We want to see that Shenmue anime back, right? And that, unfortunately, is not happening right now, right? Let's read some of the comments. Leandro, Shenmue 3 was a good game, but I believe it lacked more of the magic used by Yu Suzuki in the first two editions to arrive with Master. Yu Suzuki planned for years what the game would be like. It was clear that important details were missing to better develop this chapter. Yeah, and again, I advise you to see Adam Korlick's video, which I didn't know. He really clarified that there was some interference by Deep Silver that might have been the reason on why Shenmue 3 turned out the way it did. Again, I personally don't think it's bad. But I do believe that things were flawed. I did a whole review on Shenmue 3 back when the game was released in 2019. Now, I did finish the game before I reviewed Shenmue 3, and then I gave you all my thoughts and opinions. But that opinion still lies today. It's like, it made me want to know more about the story. I do think that it progressed the story, but it didn't do much for the story. Like, things happen. You know, spoiler warning right now. 3, 2, things happen, like Rio losing his mirror, right? And he no longer has the mirror. Him facing Lan Di finally and seeing him again, that was their first real physical encounter since the death of his father. That to me was significant. Them progressing, seeing how deep the storyline goes from that standpoint, and going to the Great Wall of China for whatever reason. I think that they've moved it on. Like, we're no longer stuck in the cave. We're no longer stuck in Guilin in particular to, you know, get to know what's going on here. But there's a lot of mysteries that were created too. You know, we learned a little bit more about the creation of the mirror, but what we don't know is what are the special supernatural kind of things that are going on in this world that the mirror might or might not have, right? There was some supernatural stuff that seemed to happen at the end of Shenmue 2, and there were a couple of weird things that happened even in this game. With particular, let me see if I can think of one. Shenhua, for example. Shenhua, there was one moment in Shenmue 3 where she was left alone with that one, like, bad dude, that one enemy, back in Guilin, and she, like, roughed him up to the point where he was scared of her. What did she do? Is she an advanced martial artist, or is there some other part of the story that we don't know about? We don't know. So those are questions that we don't have answered, and we could get answered in an upcoming Shenmue. But before we get that, because let's face it, let's say, like I said, let's say Shenmue 4 started development today, we probably wouldn't see it until 2028, at the soonest to 2030. At that point, that would mean that was another 11 years, up to 11 years, between Shenmue 2 and between Shenmue 3 and Shenmue 4. And let's face it, that would be, like, if it comes out in 2029, that would be literally the 20th anniversary of the release of the first Shenmue. And that, I mean, oh my gosh, we've grown up and we're getting old with the franchise at this point, you know, but it's still much appreciated. And I still think that we have a lot of the story to tell. And if we can't do it in gaming, which I don't see happening, I do believe that it's going to be released in games. I do think that interest can actually be built with Shenmue anime season 2. And the only way that I can see that happening, and anime season 2, is if you have excitement for in games wanting to build up the franchise, selling a lot. Interest in the franchise starts to grow. Then you have, which I don't know if this version of Shenmue 3 would cause much interest. We'd have to get some more news before that happens. But then Shenmue Anime 2 actually gets a time slot and a network or a streaming platform besides the current streaming platform that it currently is on. That brings it more attention. Imagine it's a top 10 show on Netflix, because Netflix gets the license, and they put it, and they just pump it up as like the first thing that you see. And then it becomes one of those top rated shows, because let's face it, that face value, that not Shenmue, but that Netflix, like, putting things like right in the front, adds interest. That alone, without nothing having to happen, because then everyone asks, well, what's Shenmue? And then they watch the story. Then they're like, okay, can't wait for season 2. Well, then they have to develop season 2. Look at Squid Games, for example. Nobody would have anticipated Squid Games becoming what it did. But it did because a lot of interest, it was getting a lot of hits. And then when it becomes one of those top 10 shows, I think that generates talk. That generates excitement, and that generates what you need. If you have Shenmue Anime 1 taking off, they develop Shenmue Anime 2, they do the Shenmue Anime 2, it's crazy popular, then you generate interest for Shenmue the video game. Either you do a remake of the first 2 Shenmues in a modern style, a remake, not a remaster. They already kind of did a not a fake remaster, but a better remaster. You need a remake, complete remake, where the engine's different, where you're still telling the same story but from different angles, but you don't have to restart. You don't have to like come up with like too many new things, because you're still telling the same stories. But because the engine is so good, kind of like what Resident Evil did with its franchise, you then can create and generate such interest in this game, because now it's no longer stuck in the 90s. You have new generation learning what it's about and going from there. Metal Gear Solid Delta is doing that. So you're going to have a lot of fans who are not familiar with Metal Gear suddenly created, because the graphics are going to be hype. A lot of the gameplay is still the same, but graphics are going to be next level, and they're going to change some things to modernize it a little bit. You need a similar treatment to Shenmue, but because of the gameplay that Shenmue has that no longer relates to today's modern fans that quite honestly have an attention span of a fish on a Tuesday, which is not much. It just won't click with them. So you need something a little quicker. And fighting. Take fighting to the next level. Redesign the fighting. So yes, the Shenmue universe allows you to explore a lot of details. I was a little sad, nostalgic. Shenhua was really very strange compared to Shenmue 2. Very funny, yeah, she was. But we still have to find out a lot more details. When it comes to that, though, I do think that before the next Shenmue game can come out and be good, you need to build the excitement. And sometimes it takes a little bit of money and investment. But does it really cost you money to take the anime, for example, which might be the key to Shenmue's success, and put it on a different streaming platform, or put it on television at a better time slot? But I'd rather a different streaming platform, because all the episodes came out, they'd technically be reruns at this point. But put that out there, and then generate some excitement there. Make it popular. Put some advertising out there, for Shenmue, and then build that excitement. Go from there, and then begin seeing how gauge what the interest is, and then push the franchise out, because it's all about making money. We want to make money to survive, right? But they need to make money in order to justify time, hours, everything to be put into this franchise. And that is really the challenge. It's always been the challenge of Shenmue. Okay, Leandro, the graphics could have really come close to next gen level. No, your English is just fine. Maybe it's my rating that's a little bit off. Yeah, a remake would have to be like, you're gonna have to be wowed by the graphics. But to me, gameplay and the way you tell the story needs to be modernized. Nathan, a few things that fell off to me compared to the first two, with some characters looking wildly cartoon. I know the previous two had odd-faced characters, but they were still based in reality. Yeah, it threw me off too, especially with the advertisements before the game came out. I was like, whoa, like really exaggerated facial features, right? And some scenes were a little bit exaggerated. However, that's something that you kind of get used to after a while. It's a taste. Like with the next game or with a remake, they might either go one direction, make it really serious, or another direction, make it very cartoony. Imagine like making the entire, like I wouldn't mind this actually, remaking it, but making the graphics cell shaded, right? Make the graphics cell shaded and look like the anime. So now we're actually playing the anime, but it's Shenmue style, like it's the actual game. I wouldn't really mind that, and we can go a little bit exaggerated with some of the features, though anime isn't really too exaggerated depending on what they're doing and the expressions, minus a few, right? You can just kind of go that route. I don't care about the graphics. I care really about what the story is, how the story is being told, that it's actually effective, and that it's following in line with the plot of the full franchise, right? Nathan says, also missed the ability to throw, level up. Yeah, that was a budget thing, I believe. Finally, for story, I wish they pushed it forward a little more. Real actually landed a hit. If me, I'm glad kind of Rio never really fought Lan Di, because that's not the point. Like, the point of the franchise is really, I think, Rio's growth as a character and finding out the truth about his father, because there's a relationship that Lan Di has with Iwao, Rio's father, and that relationship is yet to be explored. We discovered a few things in Shenmue, the original Shenmue, and then in this too, but there's something about Iwao. There's a connection, I believe, with Iwao and Shenhua that we just don't know. Like I have a lot of theories, obviously, which I've expressed in previous live streams, but that connection, and the connection that puts Lan Di connected to Shenhua and connects them to Rio, is undiscovered. So for them beating the snot out of each other, I don't think that'll accomplish the point. Him says, hey Magnus, good to see you live. It's been a while. Yeah, I hope we do get Shenmue 4 too. December 29th, they're gonna make an announcement. I'm not sure if it'll be Shenmue related, but I would anticipate it is, because they made this move and now they want to, of course, push out this announcement. If they're going to do that, I think that this will get them some eyeballs, because when you bring up any old franchise, but especially Shenmue, we're kind of really strong fans on the franchise, we get loud, we get trending, and if in games already has a lot of eyeballs on it, so it's good that they'll ride that wave, right? Ride that wave, but they could also drop the ball. What if they just port Shenmue 3 and run and do nothing else? That I don't think would be good. Sure, I mean, they port it to Xbox, but I don't think that's enough to really generate excitement. They would have to do something about that.
It's really late.
So,
I think I'll head back to the hotel.
Nathan, definitely lean toward the idea Lan Di was getting revenge on Rio's father in the same way. Yeah, I mean, I think Lan Di definitely was getting revenge. But there's a little bit more to the story that we don't know. I think Lan Di witnessed the death of his father. It's quite possible. I'm just gonna go upstairs. We've been talking outside the whole time. Poor Rio's been like, when's this guy gonna shut up? I do think that Lan Di knows a lot more, and he knows the history, and he knows that he has a connection with Rio, and he's using that to his advantage in this situation. I do not think that Lan Di is simply meant to be a villain. I think he'll have layers, and we don't know, right? He's just kind of looked at as like the ultimate, like, Lan Di will get revenge on you. No, he's a man with layers, And he's a man that I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not calling this out, but I wouldn't be surprised. And I wouldn't think that it's too strange if Lan Di and Rio fight side by side against a bigger threat. Which would be freaking crazy. And then they have this kind of like really like difficult relationship, almost like a love super hate relationship, similar to Ren and Rio. But I think it could be even more interesting because you're gonna have a basic super hatred for their relationship, right? Because Lan Di doesn't really care about Rio because Rio's father killed Lan Di's dad, right? But then Lan Di killed Rio's dad, so there's that like animosity. But the reasons why all of that happened could get deeper in the next phase, and it's all related. We know this. All of this is related to martial arts. There's a mystery as to why Iwao killed Lan Di's father. Right? Why did he do it? And that we don't know. Could it have been on purpose? What if Iwao was evil, like major evil, like he ran an empire in China, and Lan Di's dad was trying to stop it, and Iwao would not let that happen. But then he got, he started to have a child in Japan, and he needed to go, and he took the mirrors with him because he stole them for power. And look at, if you notice, Rio lived in a pretty separate and elevated area in Yokosuka compared to everyone else. Like, you can obviously tell there's money and power there, right? Everybody knows who Iwao was. Everybody knows who Rio was. But Iwao never saw a wife. Well, where was she, right? But you saw that he had both mirrors and hidden because people were after him. That could be a whole, I mean, I'm just speculating here, but that's a whole deep level storytelling that we don't know yet. Which is why I don't believe that it's just basically you fight Lan Di and eventually end up killing him, because it's deeper than that. So what else do we have? Love the music. Yep, I love the music of these things too. Hope Shenmue comes out for the PS5. Yeah, I mean, I hope, and I kind of anticipated that if a new Shenmue comes out, it will either be end of life PS5 release, or maybe PS6 and the new Xbox system, if Xbox lasts. I would like a Shenmue for the new Nintendo console, because that could actually generate some hype. You release new Nintendo console, you either have Shenmue 3 ported over to it, and that would be pretty cool, or a new Shenmue come to Nintendo console, because Nintendo and its exposure would help it a lot, right? So they're actually a brand that actually knows it's not all about the graphics, it's about the branding, it's about its franchise characters, and it's about getting the casuals to play, which honestly, casual money is a lot of money. But what else? Yu Suzuki really sped up the fight at the end between Rio and Lan Di. It looked like Lan Di let himself die in that fire at the end. Now, Lan Di, we all know, you can't just imagine they start Shenmue 4, it's like, oh, Lan Di's dead. But we need to get the mirror from other people now. That would be pretty funny. I saw a mod where the PC of Shenmue 3 that changed the camera angle when walking to the classic angle really goes a long way to bring the vibes even closer to the first two. I haven't seen that mod. That would be pretty cool. Actually, there are a couple other mods. There's a Kelso mod as well. that replaces the voice for Ren with the original voice actor for Ren, because he actually did the entire voiceover, all the voiceover work for the entire game. He just did it. And if you add that mod, you can actually have the original voice actor for Ren in this game, and it's a whole different experience, but cool, because it's a little more nostalgic. I don't think new players of Shenmue would really care as much, but the classic players that played Shenmue 2 in particular and really got used to his voice would love it. Me in particular, I mostly played Shenmue 2 with the Japanese voiceovers. And even the first time I played Shenmue 3, I used the Japanese voiceovers. Even though I love the English dialogue, it's classic, right? I just got so used to the Japanese voiceovers because I owned the European version of Shenmue 2 for the Dreamcast. And I eventually bought the Xbox version, but I never finished the Xbox version because I just liked the Dreamcast version so much better. Even though I had less going for it, and it was a little slower, and I had to put in my boot disc before I played the game because, of course, I have a US-based Dreamcast. It still was my favorite way to play. So yeah, given the budget though, Shenmue 3 still has lots of charm and some really good things, just need a bit more work and fixes. I hope we get in Shenmue 4. I really would not want any more mods, not any more mods, but any more DLC to come out for Shenmue 3. I think from that time it's done. Leave it with its flaws, leave it with its imperfections, and that's it. Now, thank you guys for joining me. We've been streaming for about an hour, which was pretty cool. I gotta get to bed, and I'm sure you guys got to get to bed too. Obviously, Rio got to bed, and he's coming up on his next day. We're all gonna have to do the same, but thank you as well for this conversation. This was really engaging to be able to talk and catch up with you guys and kind of let loose a little bit. And then, of course, leave comments and likes. Likes help so much because I don't get enough of that. I don't get enough comments. Even if you've watched this video, watch the comments, type some comments, have a conversation. I will reply as well too, because we need to keep the conversation going for Shenmue, but also it helps this channel so much because in order to stay relevant, sometimes you have to do that. And even though right now, thanks to you guys, I have over 6,000 subscribers, this channel is still not monetized because I don't have enough watch hours. You need at least 4,000 watch hours, and I'm at in a 12-month period. I'm only at 3,500. I'm literally 500 hours, watch hours before I get monetized. Now, I haven't been uploading as frequent, and again, that's a lot of things related to supporting myself and starting a business. I also think I told you guys before I got laid off of my job at the end of September, so it's kind of like no more messing around. I'm really kind of creeping into my savings before losing it. So it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. I get to work on a business and go from there. But your guys' support really helps a lot. Get my stuff seen by more. And then, of course, I thank you guys with, of course, releasing Shenmue content as well as my other content. And that really, I'm not making money at all off of this channel. I just do it for the love of games, you guys, the community, and we go from there. But that's where I'm going to end this stream, and I appreciate you. Okay, so I will see you guys next time. Take care. Bye-bye. Maybe I might stream sometime soon when I come up with the new ideas, and I got a video I'm editing. Okay, I